Do you have Unreasoned Tropical Teachers, Moodle 1.9 Gradebook? Um, Specifically for this school, I want to show a gradebook that I haven't touched. And so you all may recognize this course. I put in a bunch of things: an introduction, a news forum as default, work for the class A, B, and C, a midterm, a final, attendance, participation. These are just things, activities that are going to be in the gradebook. And so we're going to go down and look at the gradebook. And so we don't have any grades in here, but you can see the general layout. So you see the course total, news forum, introductions, work through the class, so on and so forth. And I'm going to categories and items. And you see the default simple weighted mean of grades, which is what I recommend. Remember the word simple and weighted mean. So don't worry about the word weighted. Just think simple mean. It means that whatever points you give, that's what counts. So if it's 10 points and something else is 50, the thing that's 50 is worth 5 times more than the one that's 10. If you want to weight categories like tests or whatever, we'll get into that later. But for now, simple weighted mean. The other options, mean and weighted mean, introduce some complexity that we don't want to worry about. So notice here, and this has been bothering me a little bit, and I'm not sure if it's this particular installation, but we have the extra credit fields, and I want my news forum, for example, to be extra credit. So I'll check that, and I'll go down and save changes. And notice at the bottom it says course total is 100. So my experience in the other class was that it was also 100, but the minute we started to mess around with these numbers, it never went back to 100 on its own. So I don't actually know what's going on there. I'm just warning you to be aware of it. Just be cognizant of this number and look at how it works out and make sure it's correct. Because you may actually sometimes want a total and you may not. So what I'm going to do is go down here to sum of grades, change this to sum of grades, so we're no longer getting a simple mean. And we look at this number, and now the number is the total of all these grades put together, which makes sense, 383. If I uncheck the extra credit, it should add these 50 points to that total, which makes sense. They're no longer extra credit, so they should count towards how many points you're expected to work on. And sure enough, we're up to 433. If, for example, I say, never mind, the final is extra credit, we should see that go down to 333. I'll check that. And sure enough, we're at 333. So I'll put it back the way I was, save that, but then here's the thing that's a little bit of a kicker. You saw before how it said 100 points when I was in simple weighted mean. I go back to simple weighted mean, and I'm at 383. I'm no longer at 100. So that's a little bit dodgy, because if that's the way the total is being aggregated, you would expect that number to matter. So we're going to have to look at how that works. Just make sure that your totals work out, and it should become pretty evident pretty early on in the game what's going on when you have actual data. But just be aware of that. Again, I'm still recommending stick with simple weighted mean, but we can worry about the total a little bit later.